Hi everybody, I hope everybody's having a good time wherever they are. Like I say in all my videos, I'm not responsible if anybody gets hurt, it's just my opinion, and sometimes I swear I'm doing a tarot reading on one of the best comedians I think of our time in 2026 and late 90s is Chris Rock. Someone suggested me to do this video. He was born February 7th, 1965. He in Andrews, South Carolina. He's 60 years old. He was married from 1996 to 2016. He has 2 children, and he's 5'10", and he's made a lot of movies. Everybody hates Chris. Grown Ups, Masaconda, Grown Ups, The Longest While, Spiritual, Down to Earth. He also did the voice of the what was it? Rotten in Dr. Dolittle. I think it was the hamster or guinea pig. So if I make the wrong animal, you can write it down if you can this. So I'm gonna do on his childhood. How was Chris Rock's childhood in South Carolina? How did it? Was it good? Because he always seems happy-go-lucky person. So I'm gonna ask him this. Chris Rock, how was your childhood? Please tell me. How was your childhood? 4 cards, please, plus a oracle card. I like oracle cards. These sometimes are a pain in the ass to shuffle, but what can you do? All right, how was his childhood? Do-do-do. I'm doing what the cards tell me. Oh, brother. He had shallow self-worth. He didn't feel good about himself. This is the devil upright. He didn't feel good about himself. He had some addictions, and maybe he was very sexually active growing up. Maybe he drank and smoked a little pot when he was growing up. Didn't want people to know. Maybe he had addiction to pot and smoked and drank a little too much. Addiction. Yeah. So, yeah, he had addicted personality, Self-care. He cares about other people, and he self-cares about himself. And he is stirring attachments to other people, like he's attacked. He has sometimes he has hard time being close to people because he's an Aquarius. Some Aquarius it's hard for them. They are detached. They're not very close. I know in the comedian side of him, he's very bubbly, but when he's not acting and stuff, he's very introverted, somewhat. So he can be detached sometimes. Chris Rock. He gets exhausted and giving up. Sometimes he's tired of giving up. He fought with his siblings and gave up with his family. He didn't like school. He wanted to give up in school. Divided. So he had, besides the drinking and when he was getting older, he did get along with his parents and his siblings and his family. He had a good home life besides the drinking and, his addictions. He had a very good, his family was very supportive of him wanting to be an actor and him going to school. And so his parents were very, and now you're in independence and free. So he's a very independent soul. He doesn't like people telling him what to do very much. He's very independent. See, the girl with the animals, she likes to be independent and free, and he likes to be independent. He likes to do his own thing, stand up and joke around and have a good time, and don't like to be censored. He's not very politically correct. Chris Rock, he's like the 70s version of what's his name? I'm thinking of Eddie Murphy, the 70s and the 80s version of Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy. All right, yeah, so it seems like he drank somewhat. he had addicted personality. How about when he was starting out being a comedian? How did that turn out? Because it says he drank and he did a little drugs, pot and did stuff, in the 90s and 80s. He didn't do anything major, just tried it. So tell me, how was his, how did he do, doing a stand-up comedian? Did that take a lot of work? Please tell me, how did his career take off? Did it take a long, long time, or was he founded quickly? Please tell me how Chris Rock's stardom, becoming a celebrity, stand-up comedian before he became, how's him being a stand-up comedian? Well, he can be disorganized person. He's not the most organized person. When it came to his stand-up comedian, I think he had to have someone help him, like a friend, or he had a friend, or he had an agent that had him, because he was more into doing the stand-up comedian, not do the paperwork of it. He was very disorganized, and he was insecure about his, sorry, I have allergies. Insecure about being a comedian, if people would take him seriously. And like he was poor, like I said, he has poor planning. He wasn't the best when it came to making plans. He had to have someone do the other stuff. Overwhelmed. He felt overwhelmed being a stand-up comedian because he wasn't sure how people would think of his, if they think he's like the next Eddie Murphy or any like that. So he was very overwhelmed. Like I said, he was overextended. Like he did a lot of shows. He all the time, and he didn't. And he overdid himself. He had he worked in Las Vegas or California and different places, and he overextended himself. I'll be right back. My nose is running. I'll be right back. Also, it took a while. He's a fearless person, Chris Rock. He doesn't, when the chips are down, he goes for it. So he put in the time for him being a stand-up. Meaning there were big changes, when you start, small, and he had to work his way up being a comedian. And he had to be fast thinking. He had to time it. I think he did write some of his own jokes, even though he had someone help him. He wrote his own jokes and driven to succeed. He had to be fast thinking on his feet. So he did write some of his own stuff. And he forgave people who stepped over him and treated him like crap. He forgave them. And he found peace, with stopping, feeling peace, because he had to, work hard being a comedian. All right, how did his relationships with girls go in the past? I'm going to look up some of these cards. How did he do in relationships with women in the past and present? All right, how did he do? I'm going to do the oracle cards. How did he do with women in the past? Because these are oracle cards. So I'll do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How did he do with women? These two are the past, and this is the present. In the past, let's see. You cast a spell with your magic flows brings you within. So he did radiant, cast a spell with your existence. He did a good job, like he was a Mr. Casanova. He did really good with women, because he was a good man. He was a good man. He didn't, he wasn't abusive or anything. He was really a nice bag. Cast with your existence may flow bright and radiant with you. So, he was a comedian. He was off the wall. in public. You know how you see him bubbling and stuff. That's an act. It's not. You see him when he's on, on talk shows, and he's more quiet, but he's not the outrageous he is. So, but he makes people feel comfortable with him. He's very down to earth person. So he was with women. He was down to earth. He's very lost in ruins in the past. Fine way. So he had some problems with some relationships in the past. There were ruins. He dated some women who didn't want a real relationship, or he didn't want to because he didn't want to take it very seriously because he was young. All right. And seed of happiness. He hopes he has happiness in the future with certain women coming. Enjoy, and so he wants to celebrate his life in a new relationship. Nature's calling you. It wants to touch, feel, and protect you from healing powers. So he wants to feel loved and protected. Field and your healing powers. So he has some powers that he keeps to him, that he tells to people, and by making people feel good about them, by making them laugh. So his power is being a comedian and making people laugh. Sorry about the girl, but of making people laugh. So that's his gift. His gift and his power is to make people laugh, women laugh. So he had a pretty good relationship with women. He made them laugh. All right. I'm going to ask another question about what happened with him and Will Smith. How when he hit him, what did he feel? I'll do the other cards. How did he feel when Will slapped him? How did he feel? He was joking around, and at first Will thought it was funny, but then he looked at his so-called witch wife, and she took offense to it, and he slapped. What did he think? Was he shocked, embarrassed, or what? How did he feel? 4 cards. How did Chris Rock feel when Will Smith slapped him? Was he upset, or self-discipline? He was very optimist. Like he was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Being slapped. He thought he was very aggressive. Thought Will Smith was being aggressive, taking it out on him when he was just joking around. He thought this was really went overboard. He thought he was being aggressive, and he was careless. Chris Rock thought Will Smith was careless and aggressive and didn't like it at all. And he thought Will Smith went kind of far because he was only being creative, and it was Will Smith blocked his creativity because he was only kidding around. He didn't think it was anything offensive, and he depends on others to make people laugh. Chris Rock, and he thought like Will Smith went too far because he was only trying to make people, and he also has an anxiety. Probably had anxiety after when Will hit him. He got anxiety and got upset, and also overthinking. Heavy party. He probably partied after that. He was partying before a little bit. Chris Rock before he had a beer or something to loosen him up. Nothing heavy, and he's into partying, so he partied, and he probably gossiped about to his friends and other comedians and other people what happened to when Will Smith hit him. So he gossiped and said, "I can't believe this jerk hit me. I was only kidding around." And he's up into partying, after what happened with Will Smith. He partied. He liked to heavy party. Oh, there was turmoil. Like, he was upset when Will Smith hit him. Like, he was upset. He was pissed off. He probably thought he went too far. And there's secrets. I think there's secrets that might come out eventually someday about what Will Smith did hitting him. Eventually, maybe Chris Rock will write a book about Will Smith and stuff. I'm going to ask a question. They said he feels bad. Does Chris Rock have anything on Will Smith? That's a good question because they said secrets. He has secrets on Will Smith. Does Chris Rock have secrets on Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith? Or, because they weren't, I don't think they were actually the best of friends. I think I don't think they went in the same circles. I'm going to ask, does Chris Rock have anything on Will Smith or Jacob Pickett Smith? Please tell me. Chris Rock, do you have anything on them? Or is it just, it was supposed to be harmless fun, him joking around with Will Smith, and it went too far? Please, do this. Whoa, yeah. Chris does have stuff on Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. So he's a celebrity. He's financial. He has good finances. He takes good care of his money, and he's happy. And he has good friends and family. So people like Chris Rock. He doesn't really have too many enemies, except for Will Smith. Not too many, and he does have an anxiety because he does know things about Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. So he's depressed. He has nightmares of, of that. And he has trauma, because of what happened being hit. That probably traumatized him being hit. In public, if someone smacked me in public, I'd be pissed off too. Delays. So he delays. He does have things on Will Smith and stuff, but he's doing delays on actually going. Maybe he'll talk to a lawyer about that. And he discovered things about Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith that they don't want people to know. I'm gonna ask. This is an interesting question. I know I didn't want to ask this, but there's secrets. Did he ever go to P. Diddy party, Chris Rock, or did he stay away and say, I'm not going to get involved with P. Diddy because he's a snake and he's a creep, what he's done to the girls and the guys? Did Chris Rock ever go to those parties, or did he stay away from the parties? I'm going to do 3 cards on that. Did he go to the parties? Yes, but it sudden change. He didn't like what was going there. He hated, that's the tower. He hated it. There was chaos in the parties. He thought what P. Diddy was crazy for what he was doing to these people. He didn't like it. He hated what P. Diddy did. He despised P. Diddy, what he was going. He probably only stayed for a couple of hours and then he left. If he was invited, or he said an insight, like, I don't like how he's treating these people. Let's leave. He said, I'm not going to stick around for long periods. So he didn't want to get involved. And there's judgment. He judges people. If you hurt him, he will judge you. He does. He judges people, and he's direct when he's something. He doesn't like pit or poof. How some people don't say what you mean. He does. He tells you like it is. He doesn't mix words. He's direct. Chris Rock is very clear-minded, and he's good with communication. He talks the talk and doesn't do the walk. And also lack of long-term vision. He doesn't know what he's going to do in a long vision when it came to going to P. Diddy's parties. He's not sure if he's going to ever go. If he wanted to go there, he had to work without results. Yeah, he went there and he didn't want to do that. There was results that he didn't want to get into. So yeah, he was unbiased. He tried not to be unbiased about the party. and he put clear boundaries. He said, "I'm not going to deal with this party. It's too freaky, and I'm not going to these parties." So he cleared boundaries. He might have talked to P Diddy or his people and say, "I'm not going to get involved with these kids or anybody." So good for him. Chris didn't go for that kind of crap. He had kids of his own, and he said, I'm not gonna deal with P Diddy's crap." He left, or he didn't want to go to anymore. So that's terrific. So anything else, Chris, you want to tell me tonight? In the future, I'm gonna make upcoming videos. I do that of all the celebrities. He seems like a real nice person. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Lack of long term. I think he's like doesn't know what he wants to do. If he wants to do more stand up, being more of a stand up comedian, because he's getting older. You can only limit success or reward. He's not sure if he wants to do, because it's lack reward. Maybe he's not as happy being a stand-up comedian as he was when he was younger. Maybe it's lack the money. The money's not always the most important, or he might not get into as much money as he wants. So he might do something else. He's distracted. Maybe he wants to be more with his kids or do charity or something else. Oh, the death card. Ooh. Endings and beginnings. Like he wants to do something else with his not. Like I said, maybe he's tired of doing stand-up comedian or movies. Maybe he'll want to write a book, or he'll do theater or do something different. Something. It doesn't mean death. The only way it would be death is if you had the tower. Then that means so long, Charlie, you're gone. Yeah, death. So no, this is a new beginning. He's gonna do something different. Maybe make another movie, but a better movie. Maybe he'll do a drama or something like that, or have someone play him. You know how there's a lot of celebrities having their lives be into a documentary. Maybe he'll decide to do a documentary of Chris Rock in the future, write a book or something, do something different. And he wants more. He wants higher standards of what he does. He doesn't want to do the same thing of being a comedian and being an actor. He wants better standards. I'm going to ask one question. I doubt he's one, but I asked this about all. I'm going to ask him, is he a normal or an empath? I don't think he's a psychopath, but I'm going to ask anyway. Is Chris Rock a normal, an empath, or a narcissistic traits? I don't think he's a psychopath. But I'll ask him, is he a normal? Is Chris Rock a normal? Are you a normal? No, but lack of faith. He's not the most religious person. And he trusts himself more than the higher above, and there's lacks of energy. I think he's lack of passion, because he's not the most passionate. Lack of passion when it comes to helping or lack of passions of doing things for other people. Sometimes he lacks the passion of helping other people, and he's self-doubt. He's a lack of self-aware, because he's not sure. He's aware of what other people are feeling. So it doesn't say he's a normal. All right, let me ask. Is he an empath? Because he's definitely not a normal. Is he an empath? Then I'll ask, is he narcissistic? He's a passionate person. He has high standards, and he appreciates people, and he's skill development. So he skills people, he cares about people and helping people with money and stuff. He needs to rest. He's a person who gets very overwhelmed very fast, he needs to renew his energy. Like, he gets tired very easily, especially when he gets older. So, he holds back. Sometimes he keeps things to himself, and sometimes he makes bad choices. I guess he might have said, maybe, when he did that slap, he might have said, oh, maybe I should have said that, even though it was a joke. I think he did feel bad. So in the thing, it says he does have empathetic tendencies. Yeah, he's an empathic person. He has some empaths in him. Wow, that's great to know. So he has empathic traits, Chris Rock. So he's not a narcissistic. I didn't ask that, but I'll ask that. Is he? It says he's an empath. Is he a narcissistic? It says he's an empath. I'll just add 3. Because you can have some narcissistic traits if you... No, he's not a narcissistic. Well, that's good to know. He's into action-oriented. He likes to do things, not to do the same thing day after day. He's driven to do things, not just be in the sidelines. He's driven to do things. Deception. There's some deception. He doesn't want people to always know what's going on in his mind to make things tick. So he does have some deception, in his mind. And sometimes he's all talk, He talks, and he doesn't always do the walk. We all do that. So I don't hold that necessarily against him. And self-expression, he jokes. He's a comedian. He likes to joke around. And he's shattered dreams, broken family. Maybe he had some broken family. He ended up divorced, after his marriage didn't turn out well. And he was disconnected. Maybe for a little while he was disconnected from his ex-wife and his children. So he was somewhat disconnected with his ex-wife. So that's all I'm going to do of Chris Rock's. So in the future, I'll do another video of him or other celebrities, singers and other people, actors, actresses, celebrities, politicians, tarot reading, and other subjects. So until my next video, take care and have a good day. Bye.